Shumme, Washmale, Ohai Gonzaimas, Guten Morgen, Hola, Boyor, Privyet, Kaifahal, Haleshama Chatore, Ahlan Wasalam Marhaba, Buna, Mucho Gracias, Swabia, Balli Kriaya, Hosh Galdin and I, Huya Mora, Chivato, Chihal, Jut Kalimera, and a very warm welcome to everybody. Thank you very much for tuning into PTV World. You're certainly watching What this morning on a very, not really cold, but obviously very pleasant weather over here in Islamabad, ladies and gentlemen, because it was raining last night. And, you know, to kind of drive to work today was magnificent for me. But alongside me, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Hajar Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. Hello, Hajra. How are you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for introducing me. So it's very cloudy outside. I think we are going to have a burst of rain just now because there's a build of the weather. But having said so, Shahzad, have you watched the documentary series on the Netflix called Cleopatra?
No.
No. So Cleopatra has been in the controversy in the recent times. Why? Because it is produced by the Jada Pinkett Smith, and we know the fame of her because she's the wife of the Will Smith, and the Will Smith famously smacked that guy on the Oscar because he passed some very lewd comments.
It's a family of superstars, though. You know, even their son, man.
Yes. And why is it in the controversy in the first place? Because they have adopted a black actress to portray the character of the Cleopatra, and the Egyptian people are really angry about it because they say that Cleopatra had the Macedonian Greek heritage, so she was not a black person at all. And they say that because the Hollywood wants to mainstream the inclusivity and the diversity and the more representation of the black people, that is why Hollywood is protecting or portraying Cleopatra as the black. Otherwise, she's not a black person at all. And Egyptian people are saying that that's a falsification of the history. Why? Because the Egyptians do not count themselves as that of the West African people, like that of Somali people, or people from the Mali or from the other origins. And I was watching an interview of the Egyptian person, and he was very angry over that. And he said that we have a different color palette of the people in the Egypt, and that's a very reductive binary when you reduce all of the Arab people as one black race, right?
So do you agree to that, gentlemen? Because for me, I think that, you know, everybody can conceive and perceive ideas the way they want to think, you know, because we're talking about art over here, and to kind of speak about Cleopatra as well. I mean, if somebody wants to perceive it as black, let them perceive it as black.
But I mean, that's not what you call serial or a series. It's a documentary.
Yes,
and when you are projecting a documentary, yes, that's not a fiction. It's a fact. So that's a wrong representation of the history. And that guy was really angry that Hollywood is so sensitive to the people who are in the minority or the colored people, but they are not sensitive about how they perceive the Egyptian people out there.
But at least finally they're sensitive about black people. I think that's something we should be thankful about.
I mean, yes, in the media they are, but how much on the ground they are, because they still have that 3/5 rule, because 5 black people vote will equal to 3 black people, and that's very discriminatory, right?
That's unfair.
Yes, that's very unfair. So I think there's a lot of talk and conversation surrounding the inclusivity and diversity and the rights of the black people, but it's not happening on the ground as much. We need to translate those words into the action, and that is still missing in the first place.
Hence, I'm right, ladies and gentlemen, when I say my very well-learned colleague, Ms. Hajar Satti. But now, Hajar, I have a very different sort of a question, you know, and that's something which we will be talking about today. So for everybody who's out there, you're holding a cup of tea. In fact, you're going to hold it with a big smile as well. And that is that, do you remember that, you know, we used to have, I mean, I thought of it as a baby mark, but my mother later on told me that it was the vaccinations or the immunization I got when I was a child. Did you have the same mark as well?
Yes, I still have that.
Really?
Yeah.
But I think I don't have it now.
Really?
I don't know why.
Because
but
I think it is somewhere lost in your muscles.
Probably.
No?
Probably. I think that can be a valid reason. But imagine that, you know, that for the well-being of our generations, it is really important for us to be immunized.
And do you remember having those polio drops, because they taste very sour, and I think a couple of times I have threw that into the shank without my mother's knowledge, and when she came to know about it, so she was really angry about it.
I think, you know, so imagine that, you know, I've been, you know, taking those polio drops even now. So imagine, you know, if I'm taking my baby girls out there, you know, so to gain their trust that it's okay, you know, and it's going to be really yummy, you know, Shabano and Merbano, so I'll be like, okay, you know, give me a drop as well, and then then I'll be
Oh,
like,
wonderful. Such
so
a lovely
inside I'm not feeling really awesome about it. So I'm like, Beta, this is so tasty, and this auntie is going to give us candy and whatnot. But ladies and gentlemen, today I think that we really need to talk about this immunization week, which actually kicked off on the 24th, and we will be observing it till the 30th as well, to kind of share awareness, to kind of make sure that everybody has this trust onto these vaccines which are available, for all of those diseases which can be prevented. Imagine polio having to be on top. Unfortunately, polio still exists in Pakistan. That's something that we've been fighting on. I mean, every now and then we'll see that, okay, there's one new case, two new cases as well, and it's only Pakistan and Afghanistan who unfortunately still have polio, which exists within the society or the community as well. Now, imagine that there are 12 different vaccines which you really need to get to make sure that you prevent all of those different diseases out there. But how do we gain that trust that, okay, that vaccine which we are going to get or probably will be injected into us is a safe vaccine? That's something which a lot of people have had trouble with, and that's something which we will be...
And it's not just in Pakistan, it's around the world. So you would see that how much there was a hesitancy toward getting vaccinated.
Even Novak Djokovic didn't even get his COVID vaccine. He was like, okay, if you want me to play, I'll play, but I'm not going to get the vaccine.
And sometimes, especially in the Western countries, there was this Christian belief about, not getting vaccinated because that hindered with their religious beliefs. But obviously, government had a tough time. I mean, conquering those people or conquering those views or defeating those views which propagated that you should not get vaccinated, because these are for our own benefit, right? And Quran and the sciences, they always go hand in hand.
Exactly.
Because they stem from the creator, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Exactly, which is why only one question before we introduce a worthy guest to kind of speak about the immunization week, and that is, आपको टीके से डर लगता है?
Yes, of course. I think there is always a psychological fear whenever there is a huge needle which it comes in. But once it's done, I think that the fear is greater and the pain is not that much greater.
Exactly,
right?
and that's beautiful, because, every now and then I'm going for blood testing and whatnot. So, I always pretend to be really brave. I'm like, okay, I'm going to look at the needle.
Do you close your eyes whenever the needle is coming?
Yeah. So I'm looking at the needle. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be brave, Shahzad, come on, hold your nerves. And as soon as the needle starts to poke in, I'm like, all right, I really need to look somewhere else. But ladies and gentlemen, having said so, it's obviously about the future generations. We really need to make sure that our future generations are healthier. A lot of countries actually have this problem at their priority list right on the top because of the fact that they, the elderly population is more over there, and then the future generations, obviously they've been family planning and whatnot. But we really need to protect, we're a country where 60% or more of the population is actually youngsters, youth, and we're obviously looking forward to a lot more within the population in the coming years as well. I believe that, we're somewhat around 24 to 25 crores as of now. And, to kind of talk about immunization, why is it important? How do we gain the trust? Whether more vaccinations needs to be introduced, for all of those preventable diseases. We're lucky that we've been joined by somebody who happens to be the SOGP coordinator, Dr. Saima Zubair. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you very much. I'm feeling very good because the weather is awesome in Islamabad right now.
Yes.
And your energy is very catchy.
Oh, thank you so much. I've been dying to listen to this compliment for a longer period of time because I was off, I was roaming around, and nobody said so. So, so let's get started. Tell us about the significance of this immunization week. Why is it important? And why do you think that we should be here on television speaking about it?
So, just for the information of all our viewers, 24th of April till 30th of May, the world commemorates the World Immunization Week, and this is celebrated and marked all over the globe to highlight the importance of vaccination and immunization, and to inculcate in our society that vaccinations save lives, they prevent these horrible diseases and their side effects, and they help us lead normal, healthy lives, especially our children, and not just the children. You, me, as you just mentioned, your, marks, telling your age, what that is. But, since long this has been going on.
Right.
So these vaccines have enabled us to live healthy lives, happy lives, productive lives.
But and that's great. And just one simple thing. But imagine that, we're a society where we are not research-based, unfortunately. We certainly do not know. I mean, a lot of people certainly do not know about Google Scholar. So the first thing we need to look up for is we just go to Google, type it in. Now we have, softwares like ChatGPT and whatnot. So imagine that people who are not based on research, or the society or the community which is not based on research, which is why we still have polio cases over here, where people still think that, God forbid, they're going to be infertile if they're going to take that polio vaccine. How do you think we can make them understand that, bhai, ye tika zaruri hai?
That's the sad part of this story. You know, you mentioned polio earlier and just now also. So it is a cause, it's a fight that each and every one of the Pakistani nation, the citizen, has to take it up. The fears and the myths, they can only go away when we share the knowledge and information to our public in their local understandable languages.
Okay.
And we have to go down to their level of understanding. And nothing can be a hindrance if you know talk, communicate, answer their questions. And we cannot just sit as doctors and talk in medical terms. We have to go down to their levels. We have to address the myths and the fears they have. But the biggest thing is, like I tell my patients that, look, I got myself vaccinated, my family is vaccinated, my kids are vaccinated. If it is not good, healthy, safe or effective, why would I, you know, sacrifice my family?
Yes.
So everybody has to give their own example and fight for this, you know.
But I think our state has been consistently working towards eradicating the polio, and there have been a very wholesome sort of an approach where they have also engaged the ulama, which have given the fatwas that it is completely halal, and it's scientific, and it's also good for your cause, and there is no such thing called infertility, which is being going to induce because
I got
of
the
these
vaccine. I have 3 daughters, alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and obviously there's a different sort of an issue of the polio eradication, because there's a lot of cross-pollination of the movement, cross-border movement from Afghanistan, and those people go undetected, and obviously polio virus surfaces again. But alhamdulillah, our government, our state is working very diligently, and obviously there's Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which is also working in Pakistan to eradicate the polio. Now coming to the immunization part of that, and expanded immunization campaigns or EPI, and what is the relationship between the universal health coverage? How do you define? Is it a symbiotic relationship, mutually reinforcing? What sort of relationship?
You know, the symbiosis is that we all aim for universal coverage. Yes. We want 100% of the child, 100% of all these children to be vaccinated.
Yes.
This is our target, this is our aim.
True.
Why? The world has recently faced an unprecedented pandemic. You, I, we all have gone through. I lost my mother in COVID. But we all learned that with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, vaccination was the main help that we all got. That prevented mortalities, morbidities and the severity of the disease.
That's true.
People are still getting COVID.
That's true.
Right?
Ab to aise hi jaise nazla zukam hai bas.
Exactly.
Because of mass immunity.
But you know, now there's not that big of a fear or the hue and cry. We have seen empty classrooms. We have worked from home. We have seen the Sunsan and Beaban roads, everything. That was all the fear that the disease brought. But vaccination, initially there was resistance for COVID vaccine as well. So then the healthcare providers, they were the first ones to get it, not just for, you know, to experiment on us, but to show it to the nation that these are safe and effective. So that is why vaccinations were, you know, the resistance, this started breaking, and then people were calling all the doctors, you know, give us letters, said that we are healthcare providers, we're working in your clinics or hospitals, so get us vaccinated. So when you fear for your life, people do run. But the thing is, government of Pakistan did excellent work there.
True.
We had a lot of campaigns going on and all levels.
Exactly. We had people over here, you know, injecting us with COVID vaccines.
Everywhere.
And we absolutely loved it, that, you know, how our organization is looking after us. But, you know, the problem is real. So now imagine that, unfortunately, almost everybody, I think majority of the people who are actually watching us on their television as well, you know, me, myself, you know, our team members, everybody got COVID. Nobody was spared of it as well. Even then, you know, my father got very serious. Even then, after that, my father got his 2 doses of the vaccine. Each and every one of us within the family got the vaccine. But my mother only got 1, and she wasn't willing to get the other one. So imagine that it was so hard for us to make her understand how important it is for you, and she just gave up. She's like, no way, I'm not going to get another dose of the vaccine. How do we educate people? Imagine I'm telling you about my mother. So imagine people out there, you know, who can have so many different stories about it. Then people like Novak Djokovic, whom so many people follow, didn't really get the vaccine. He's like, I don't know what you're putting inside my body and I don't want it. So there's always, you know, somebody against the idea.
The world is never going to unite on any of the things. This is always going to be there.
True.
Right? But the thing is, like you initially mentioned, we lack data, we lack research.
True.
You know?
It's true.
When there's scientific evidence, is only there when you collect the data and when you compile it and present it. Right? So that is where we lack. We'll do our work, we are overloaded work, but we do not sit and jot it down.
That's true.
That's our problem. So we don't have those evidences. We only follow what the world tells us, shows us. This is the drawback in our.
We are not the innovators in the research. Yes.
And we don't understand the importance of research. Plus, the hearsay, the religious factors, and then, like you mentioned, Pakistan has faced so much on its own. We have had, you know, IDPs. We have had the Afghanis. They are guests. We are hosts to them.
Yes.
So Pakistan had played such crucial role in all the difficulties that they have gone through. But so I believe that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has taken care of Pakistan. Look at the world around you.
That's true.
Look at what COVID did. The havoc it created in India, in Iran.
Yes, and in Europe in the first place. Yes.
I'm just talking about the neighbors, those so close.
So how do you think that we?
So
please go on.
I was just telling that the way we organized the COVID-19 vaccination campaign.
Beautiful.
It was beautifully done. And the EPI, like you mentioned, polio, we have been going on and on since many ages. But I'm very, very glad that now the government and the National Health Services Coordination, Regulations Coordination, and the FDI, they have, you know, revamped themselves. If you see the past few campaigns, they go all out on social medias, on all your media channels, on TV, on Twitter, on Instagram, everybody, on radio, everywhere. So there are people talking about it.
True.
Initially, or if you go back a few years, we only had one channel. Now there's so much talk about everything going on, and the important thing is that now the technical advisors, the medical doctors, and the government and the Directorate of Immunization, they're all together.
Exactly.
Working together.
So now, you know what we really need to do is let's make our audiences more aware, you know, because that's exactly what happened when, you know, people went to vote and, you know, they were putting up pictures of their thumb inked, and, you know, people were getting their COVID vaccinations, you know, they were posting pictures as well, and it really did work out. You know, a lot of people did take influence. Now let's talk about all of those 12 vaccines which are very important for us. Which diseases do you think that these vaccines will protect our children from? To what ages, you know, we really need to get them vaccinated or immunized, and are these vaccines free? Because I didn't get them for free. Probably I didn't know about it.
I'll talk about all of these things, because this is what World Immunization Week is all about.
True.
It is about me, it is about you, it is about all those watching us right now, sitting at home, that we have to get up, take our children out and get them vaccinated.
True.
You know, we just talked about COVID-19, and the world, we have rolled back on our immunization number. Not just Pakistan, all over the world. People have lost track of their vaccinations. So the theme of World Immunization this year is the big catch-up.
Yes.
So we have to catch up on all those lost vaccines or immunizations, for all the children who have been left out, who have not been vaccinated, or who have missed out on their vaccinations. And let me just add that it is not just the children. It is safe and effective for the pregnant mothers, for the lactating mothers, and also other adults as well. I don't want them to say it's just for the females, males as well as adults, right? So starting from childhood, the NHSRC and the FDI would like to tell everybody that these vaccines, they are safe, they are effective, they are available nearest to you at all the government health centers, and they are free of cost.
All 12 of them?
Yes. Within all 6 visits, you can go and complete the vaccination of your children from 0 day till the age of 15 months.
Okay.
For the 12 diseases, you just need to make 6 visits.
Wonderful.
At birth,
right?
Then at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 9 months and 15 months.
And these 12
quickly,
vaccines, very sorry, Hajo,
right.
and these 12 vaccines will protect us from how many diseases?
So they are the vaccine preventable diseases that we tell them. And if, let me name them, they are the childhood TB, it's very common in Pakistan.
Yep.
Then we have pneumonia, we have hepatitis B, we have measles, we have meningitis, we have diarrhea, and we have diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus, rubella, and which one did I miss?
Right. So Dr.
They are
Saima,
12, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. These 12 diseases.
Before we quickly wrap up our
Yeah.
segment, so we want to talk about something which you alluded to before the program started, which is the cervical cancer vaccine. So I never knew that the cancer has also a vaccine. So why don't you shed light on that?
So, you know, vaccines are not just for these dreadful diseases.
Okay.
They can prevent cancer as well.
Right.
And this opportunity and this World Immunization Week is very important for us to give this message out to the masses that cervical cancer, this is the 4th commonest cancer amongst women in the world, and we lose lives. And this is not available in Pakistan. So we are working towards that to make it available for our nation. And this can totally prevent, easily prevent this cervical cancer.
Wow.
And it is not a difficult thing. The World Global Health Authority has worked on it. They have rolled out a formula of 2030. We have to, vaccinate 90% of the girls from ages 9 till 15. And then we have to, screen 70% of the women and treat 90% of those diagnosed with cervical conditions. Wow. So this is an aim that we have to achieve till 2030. The world is going towards it. We have not even gotten the vaccination. So we have to work towards
Exactly, but we're working towards it, and I think this is our humble effort to make sure that that happens as well. But Dr. Saima, since we're short on time, there's one more thing you want to say? Please go ahead.
One more thing. The World Immunization Week encourages everybody to advocate for vaccination.
Exactly.
So I would like to request you, the cameraman over here, the audience, to advocate for vaccination. You, me, everybody, we have to take our children, take your nieces, take your nephews, gali mohalla ka aur bacha, guide everybody, go to their nearest health centers by the government. They are providing free vaccination. And
be
I would
a change
like to,
agent for them. Yes.
One more thing, the appreciation for the, the federal minister. They have rolled out an excellent program, Mr. Abdul Qadir Patel, and the health secretary, and Mr. Ahmed Qazi, Dr. Ahmed Qazi of the DG of the FDI. Especially they have encouraged and appreciated the health workers.
MashaAllah.
Our vaccinators you must have seen those videos crossing rivers, ropes and snow.
Yes.
So we have to appreciate them as
And
well.
we've certainly been sharing their pictures as well, and they are the true warriors as well. But there's only one problem, Haja, with me, and I'm certainly looking for a vaccine, and that is I keep on falling in love. I'm not sure whether there's a vaccine for that or not, but I think my wife has got the vaccine for that too. But ladies and gentlemen, at this point of time, thank you very much, Dr. Saima, for being with us.
So
Lovely
much
to be in conversation with you. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, this is not it for the immunization week, because the big catch-up, right after the break, we will certainly be joined by people from a private hospital. Let's see, what do they have to say, whether the vaccine should be free or not. Good morning.